She is everywhere you look in Mexico, the Virgin of Guadalupe. But what's her story? Why is she so revered by Mexicans of all different classes? And why do 20 million people visit her basilica every year? Take a trip with me to the most visited Catholic pilgrimage site on the planet, the Basilica of Guadalupe. Almost 500 years ago, on the hill of Tepayac in northern Mexico City, millions of believers come to see an artifact that they believe is proof of the visitation of the Virgin Mary. So many come here, in fact, that a moving walkway had to be installed to keep them all from crowding the space. It is the Tilma, or cloak, of the indigenous peasant Juan Diego. According to the legend, in December 1531, the Virgin appeared to Juan Diego and had, like him, dark skin and spoke in his native tongue, Nahuatl, the same language of the Aztecs. She instructed him to build a church in her honor on the site. When Diego went and told the archbishop of his encounter, he did not believe the poor peasant. The archbishop wanted proof, a miraculous sign to prove her identity. The Virgin appeared to Diego several more times, ultimately telling him the famous words that are inscribed above the entrance to the basilica, "Am I not here, I who am your mother?" She told Diego to gather flowers from the top of the hill, where he found roses not native to Mexico and mysteriously growing in the cold of December. He collected the flowers in his tilma, or cloak, and brought them to the archbishop. When he opened his tilma, the flowers fell to the floor, revealing the image of the Virgin on the fabric. Protected by bulletproof glass, the tilma hangs above the main altar of the modern basilica, which replaced the previous 17th century church next door. Tourists and pilgrims can get a closer look at the cloak behind and underneath the altar, not to distract from the masses that take place every hour. The basilica's self-supporting circular structure allows the image to be seen from anywhere inside the building. Its bluish-green roof represents the veil of the Virgin, covering and protecting all the faithful inside, while the circular shape symbolizes the tent that housed the Ark of the Covenant. Security cameras are everywhere, probably due to the attempted bombing during the Cristero War of the 1920s, which damaged the old church, the bomb being hidden in a bouquet of flowers. There is an extremely busy gift shop where you can purchase something and then take it outside to be blessed by a priest. Being the good Catholic boy that I am, I had the rosary that I bought for my mom and my face doused with holy water. Millions of believers converge here every 12th of December, the anniversary of the Virgin's appearance and a national holiday, some on their knees, carrying images and statues of the Virgin. The old basilica, now called El Templo Expiatorio a Cristo Rey, was the original home to the tilma and was built between 1695 and 1709. The church contains 15 vaults and an octagonal dome adorned with mosaic tiles. The 1921 bombing I mentioned earlier destroyed 95% of the church, but the sacred Tilma miraculously escaped any damage. However, due to the construction of other buildings on site, the bombing, and earthquakes, the church, on the verge of collapse, was closed for 24 years starting in 1976. After a slow rehabilitation, the church's doors were finally reopened in 2000. Climb up the stairs to the top of the hill to the Capilla del Cerrito, stopping to take in the views of the basilica and city below. The Capilla del Cerrito, or Chapel on the Hill, was built on the spot where it is believed Juan Diego found the roses that the Virgin told him to collect in his cloak as proof of her existence. This installation, La Ofrenda, depicts the adoration of the Virgin by the indigenous, marrying them with their new Christian faith. Conveniently, the hill of Tepayac, where the Virgin appeared, had already been an indigenous sacred site, dedicated to the mother goddess Tonantzin. The Spanish had a hard time converting the natives to Catholicism until, of course, the appearance of the Virgin here. If you're enjoying this video, please give it a like, and more importantly, hit that subscribe button. Muchas gracias. There are food vendors selling sandwiches and snacks all over, but you can get something more satisfying at the large market connected to the site. I ordered a huarache, a popular treat of corn masa in the shape of a sandal, hence the name huarache, filled with smashed beans before frying and topped with onion, potato, salsa, cilantro, and your choice of protein. The stunning Capilla del Pocito, built in 1791, is considered an architectural jewel of the Baroque style. Inside the church is the Fountain of Miracles, where pilgrims would flock to heal their sickness with the blessed water. Lastly, the Capilla de Indios, built in 1695, sits on the site where the Archbishop built the first temple per the Virgin's instructions according to Juan Diego. The foundation of that first temple is on display, as well as the remains of Juan Diego.